Out of more than 40 world-class skaters who performed at the Olympic Gala in Milan, with men's gold medalists throwing massive jumps, pairs champions executing death-defying lifts, and ice dance legends who had trained their entire lives for exactly this kind of spotlight, Alysa Liu was chosen as the final performer of the entire Games. That selection is not a polite tradition or a random scheduling decision. It is the organizing committee looking at every athlete who competed across every discipline over the entire length of the Winter Games and saying that this specific person is the one the world most wants to see when the lights go out and everyone flies home. She stepped onto the ice not in an elegant classical costume with a mournful concerto building behind her, not with the kind of slow, weeping performance designed to make judges nod in polite approval, but in a dark blue bedazzled dress with a matching choker, and the arena speakers kicked on with Boys a Liar PT2 by PinkPantheress and Ice Spice. The entire arena, packed with tens of thousands of people, was literally dancing in their seats. The internet went completely wild within hours. NBC Olympics posted the clip and it spread like wildfire across every platform. And people sitting at home could not process what they were watching because an Olympic gold medalist closing the Winter Games to a viral Gen Z track has simply never happened before in the rigid history of figure skating. Before the gala even took place, reporter Raymond Braun sat down with Alysa and surprised her live with a personal video message from PinkPantheress herself, who looked directly into the camera and told her that she was so inspiring, that when she was younger she was obsessed with figure skaters, and that Alysa was literally living her dream. Alysa's reaction was completely unfiltered, starstruck joy. She immediately called PinkPantheress her absolute favorite artist in the world, promised right then and there that if she was invited to perform at the Olympic Gala, she would skate to her music. And 2 days later, standing at center ice closing the biggest sporting event on the planet, she kept that promise exactly. The crossover between elite figure skating and modern pop culture that Alysa triggered by keeping that promise is genuinely unprecedented because PinkPantheress and Ice Spice both caught wind of the performance. The internet was buzzing with two massive music stars actively connected to an Olympic figure skating routine. And this kind of collision between those two worlds has no historical precedent in the sport's existence. Pop music fans and hardcore figure skating fans who had never previously occupied the same corner of the internet suddenly found themselves talking to each other about the same performance, and the millions of views the clip generated came from audiences that no traditional Olympic figure skating moment has ever been able to reach simultaneously. To understand why this gala performance is so much more than a viral moment, you have to remember that this is the athlete who retired at 16 years old after the Beijing Olympics because she was so burned out and so deeply miserable in a sport she had come to hate that walking away from everything felt like the only honest choice available to her. She came back 2 years later with a single non-negotiable condition that she stated openly and enforced completely, which is that no one tells her what to do. She picks her own music, she designs her own costumes, she chooses coaches who treat her as an equal partner rather than a product to be optimized, and every creative decision flows entirely from her.
2 days before the gala, she had delivered her Olympic free skate to Donna Summer's MacArthur Park suite in a shimmering gold dress, actively smiling during the 6-minute warm-up while her rivals were crippled by nerves, landing 7 flawless triple jumps while floating across the ice with an ease that made the most technically demanding performance of her life look like something she was genuinely enjoying. Her free skate score of 150.2 was the highest women's score recorded anywhere in the world this entire season. She vaulted from 3rd place all the way to 1st, beat Japan's Kaori Sakamoto by less than 2 points in a razor-thin finish, and became the first American woman to win individual Olympic gold since Sarah Hughes shocked the world in Salt Lake City in 2002, ending a 24-year national drought that had haunted the federation across multiple generations of athletes. That 24-year drought was not simply a medal gap, it was the visible result of a system of pressure and expectation that had been actively breaking young athletes mentally and physically across every Olympic cycle, producing burnout stories and early retirements and the kind of destroyed relationships with sport that take years to acknowledge publicly because the system punishes honesty about its costs. Alysa Liu ended that drought not by quietly conforming to the toxic system that produced it, not by grinding herself into submission until the medals came, but by rejecting the entire framework outright, returning on her own terms, and then standing on the podium as proof that the alternative not only works, but works better than everything the establishment had been insisting was the only path. Her coach told the media before the free skate that she was not there to win a medal, but to skate and enjoy her life, which is a sentence that every traditional figure skating coach and federation official who spent the previous 2 decades demanding sacrifice and suffering as the price of championship performance needed to hear from a man standing next to the athlete who just ended America's longest individual gold medal drought. The gala performance closing the games to Boys a Liar PT2 while PinkPantheress posted her support and Ice Spice engaged with the moment online was the exclamation point on that statement, delivered to an audience of millions who would never have watched a figure skating moment if it had arrived in the format the establishment always insisted was the only acceptable one. The signature striped halo hair, the smiley piercing visible every time she smiled at the crowd, the bedazzled dark blue dress, the Gen Z pop music blasting through an Olympic arena in the closing moments of the Winter Games, all of it coming from an athlete who hated figure skating so profoundly at 16 that she disappeared entirely for 2 years, represents the most complete possible argument against the idea that athletes must destroy themselves to reach the top. She proved that you can win the Olympic gold medal and still be entirely yourself, that you can be a ruthless elite champion and have your favorite artist send you a personal blessing before you close the biggest sporting event in the world, and that the most powerful thing an athlete can demonstrate to a generation of young people watching at home is that breaking your soul was never actually required for any of it.